What you came out of there is valuable to you, and it will still take you far. We need to learn to stop thinking about being in this particular space all the time, and always imagine and know that there is one that is coming that will not take away your humanity, your dignity, your self-worth, your self-respect, and your morals from you. It's gonna come. So hi guys, how you all doing? Welcome back once again to my channel. How are you all doing this beautiful fine day? And you are absolutely welcome. If you've never met me before, if you've never seen me before, my name is Chinyere of Juliettsstyleglam. If this is your first time here with me, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the family. If you're already subscribed, you know what's up. Hit that subscribe button, like that video, and let's get your system rolling, because it makes me feel good also when you're able to like my videos and actually comment and actually subscribe to my it makes me also feel good. It boosts my morale. You get that. Okay, you guys will be looking at me, I'm like, okay, why is she exceptionally happy? I posted 2 days ago, finally, P.Diddy has been arrested. Somebody, he is illégal. Yes, he's been arrested. Yes, il a été arrêté. Très bien. I feel good. I feel good. I feel happy, right? Now, which brings me to something I'm going to say before we start this video. So before we went on holiday, I actually talked about the fact why I actually put up a story about, what I was going through the motions, and the fact that, sometimes the things we talk about tend to have an adverse effect on us. And that was actually what was going on with me. I had followed the Diddy story, rigorously. I'd done when the Rolling Stones came out, I did 2 lives on it, and I did the video, and I actually even put up a podcast, but that podcast never went live because I began to feel drained. And I began to feel some type of way. I wasn't feeling good anymore. Like, everything was just, I wasn't just okay. So I decided, and I felt it in my head, I felt that anger, I felt that disappointment, I felt all those emotions. I felt, like I needed to do something, but I couldn't, and I wasn't able to do it. And I felt like the people who were supposed to do something were not doing it, or they were, I felt that way. And then I even heard a report that said that, them raiding, Homeland Security raiding Diddy's house was a fluke, and it was about protecting people. And it just put me in this space, and I didn't want to. And I even actually, that was why I actually came out with that. But God got me, God told me, relax, honey, relax, relax. I got you. So here I am, and I'm so happy. I saw it. I woke up 6 a.m., 7 a.m. and I don't know, I woke up and I picked up my phone because I have the habit of reading the news. So I picked up my phone. First news on the first headline: P.Diddy has been arrested in New York. I was like, anybody there that is busy talking about the fact that I am happy, please just find another channel or another place and put, because this happiness cannot be equated. You cannot see a fellow woman who could have by then you will not be telling me I can't be happy with this animal. Hell nah. The overjoy big. Okay, so what is he being charged with? The book is big, and according to reports, they are saying that it could still be more. Meanwhile, if you haven't watched the previous videos I did concerning P.Diddy and this and the sexual abuse and domestic violence and all that. If you haven't watched that video, I'm going to hang it up here and I'm going to put the link down there. Go watch it. I'm even going to put the link of the live I did. I wanted to do a live with this one, but I'm like, no, I don't want to do another live, because I know that live, I didn't prepare for that. So what is he being charged with? So the charges are a lot. He's been charged with racketeering, sex trafficking, forced labor, prostitution. He's also been charged with obstruction of justice, bribery, and arson.
As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs.
Now, the obstruction of justice got me. You know why? Heard reports that by 2023, he had begun to harass the other people who had charges against him not to testify. A guy has balls. He's got guts. I have to tell him, he's got guts. He has balls. I mean, for you to do that, that's something, you have to think about that. And then we get to find out. So, the Lord works in very mysterious ways. He said, vengeance is mine, says the Lord, and he is venging. Cassie, you'll get your reward. You will get your vengeance. And I am here for it. That said, so we're talking about, an arson. Now, I listened to another, I think ABC News, on how they were breaking it down on what all of this meant. So racketeering, and it's quite funny. It's not funny. It's quite crazy. The racketeering bit is that the fact that no one actually, those of them, that the music industry, that the line between business and, listen, it's crazy. It says that the line between, it's organized crime. It's like an organized crime, which is what racketeering is. And so much so that the line between the music industry and where sex trafficking and prostitution ends is blurred, that everything is so intertwined. And when he said this, I was like, okay, so that means it's not just Diddy then. We are sure now that it's not just Diddy. We are now 100% sure it's not just Diddy. There are other people involved, because they said that this is done in such a way that they even got to bring in girls, right, to attract artists. You have to bring in girls to attract artists that you want, talent you're looking for. What? So, again, I'm please pardon I'm not just excited, but I'm mind blown. So for you to get an artist, you're now using, the girls are like, they're like, when you set a trap for rats, and so you put the girls there as a trap, and then you now to lure them in to be. So again, at that point, we are going to be calling out a lot of names. And it's quite weird. Seriously, I will say this. It's very funny that most of the people who actually went for those parties, when you ask them, they say that they didn't see anything. They didn't notice any of those things. So who were the people that were noticing these things? But you cannot tell me that you did not know. Even if you didn't notice it, even if you didn't witness it, you knew it was going on. It gets I'm just giving you guys like just the. So now we're talking about that, then when the report also says that his abuse of women was a regular, it was a normal, and it was like a norm. So we're talking about drugging, punching, hitting, dragging them on the floor like we saw in Cassie's video, and highly orchestrated, highly coordinated sexual acts with male prostitutes. So we're talking about somebody who's so depraved, right? And who, for him, every sexual act had to be debasing, and for these girls. So for him to be able to get his freak on, those girls had to be debased so much for him to be able to, and again, please, we all know at this point that it cannot have been just Diddy. Just like we know that Cassie was not the only person. Just like we also know that Kim Porter was also a victim. Right? Then they also talked about premeditated. So good. So basically, what they actually saying, because they used an acronym RICO. I'm not sure if I'm right, but I'll look at it. It said they used an acronym called RICO, and it's talking about premeditated. So the acts were premeditated, which means that, of course, a premeditated act is that you're going into that act, right? Fully aware, and with the plan and with the intention of a premeditated or an expected outcome, right? And so this is where we are right now. And so I believe names are going to be dropping. I know. I have a couple of ideas in my head. But I'm not going to say anything because, innocent until proven guilty, not for Diddy. I mean for those people. I have a couple of ideas. I know some of them will probably get off the hook because of their age and underlying, health challenges. They'll probably get off the hook. But I also am aware, or I also know that, the names are going to be dropping, and we can actually easily guess the people whose names will be there. CBJ Alpha. Okay. All right. So we're talking about then trafficking women. Okay, I've talked about that. And then arson. Arson was being fingered because of the fact that Kid Cudi's car was blown up. So arson is actually part of it, and that's the reason why. And because Kid Cudi actually confirmed that such and such and such a thing did happen to him. Then kidnapping. So basically, in this sense, the kidnapping comes in the area of Cassie, because Cassie for Diddy was his, in prostitution, right? Or in kept, I'm looking for the word. It's not just prostitution. With madams, yes. When you have, a madam, I've read a book about it, so that's how I have an idea about this. And then there was an issue about a Nigerian at some point far back, as the 80s or 90s, who ran such a thing in New York at the time. And so when you run a prostitution business or ring, whether by the man or a madam, a monsieur or a madame, usually there is always a favorite girl, right? And I think Cassie to Diddy was his favorite girl. She was the top. She was the one for him. And that was why he did the things he did with her and to her, in the sense that she was secluded. He would seclude her from people and, events and stuff like that. and be able to do the things he wanted to do. And even when he wasn't there, or he would keep her in those places for his sick mind, right? For his sick acts. So Cassie was his star girl. I read a book like that. The similarities are uncanny. That book tore my soul. I can't even remember the title of that book anymore. That book tore my soul. Because the girl, I don't want to go there. It tore me. So, Cassie to Diddy was his star girl. And, the fact that he did those things by secluding her and removing her from, public view and whatever, even from her family, is termed as kidnapping. Now, this is where it gets a little scary for Diddy and for all the people who were involved. CVJ, how far? So, apparently, Diddy was the guy, right? And so, he had interned. If you all remember from the Rolling Stones article, Diddy interned to be an A&R, right? Before he became Bad Boy Records. And so, at the time, there was, we all saw this, we all know this. Diddy had this persona. He was the person, he was the in guy, he was the dude. So whether you wanted to be an executive, you wanted to be a marketer, whatever it is you wanted Diddy. And we also saw an excerpt of that in the video where he was supposed to be the girl group, where Danity Kane was part of the group, and how he talked to them and how he behaved and how he spoke to them and how he treated them, because he made them understand that they needed to impress him. He was the god, he was the this, he was the that, we got that. So we can't remove this particular ideology that everyone who wanted to be something in the music industry, and anyone who wanted to be something in the music industry, be it executive, marketing, whatever, you wanted his approval. You wanted him to be that person that came through for you and said, you're doing a good job. And we've seen, this is not a lie. We saw it in the video. We saw it in that girl band Kinikon. We saw it. So that one, then they got him, right? And so, it's in now, which brings me to what I want to talk about in this area. Many times, because we want something, because we are seeking some form of validation from someone to do because of something we're doing or something we want, our desperation comes out. That desperation is what leads us to accept things that generally would not accept, to say yes to things that generally would not say yes to. I have been a victim of that, and I understand exactly that feeling. You know that this thing is wrong. You know that this thing, there is something wrong with it somewhere. There is something that is not right. But here you are, because you want to be given, you want your shot, because you want to ensure that you are getting your due, you will overlook it. And I think, and I assume, and I presume that at that time, that was exactly what was going on. So many people around Diddy were actually ready to do anything and everything to have that validation. And you see, when you seek validation from man, when you seek validation from man and not from God, and you are going to be in for a wild ride. Because you see, one thing we have learned to do very well in this world where we live in is to give power to mere mortals. And we have actually seen how people, due to influence, have put themselves as the voice of power. I say this all the time. When someone is talking to you, do not be quick to always say, we. Listen. Some of us are slow to decipher. I get that. But it is at that time you're supposed to be making those decisions and talking to yourself and telling yourself, take it easy, a step at a time, one step at a time. Look at the pros and the cons. You don't have to be in a hurry. Take your time. I also know that many of these people will not give you the time to take your time. Yeah, they will tell you, listen, you got till the end of the day to give me an answer. If not, they make you feel like you're not that important next. And you're struggling. You're struggling with being able to this decision that is going to either make you or mar you. You want this opportunity at all costs. You've put in all your hard work, blood, sweat, tears into this, and you need this. This is your big break. I know that many of us have been victims to that. But how many of us have told ourselves at that point, pull back. I am not going to make any rash decisions. Wait. Because again, there is something I learned during COVID. COVID was rough for me, but there's something I learned during COVID. And it has never left me. During COVID, I had I've told you guys a little bit. I was in a wreck. I was a wreck financially, right? I was a wreck. I didn't know what to do. I had no clue what I was going to do. But get this. What did I learn? I learned in that period that any experience I got, every experience I got on that journey was going to come in handy and useful. I kid you not. So while you're thinking, you had this shot with this company or that place or that such and such and such, and you did not do that thing that you really, really want out of desperation or for whatever, for your morals, for the sake of your morals and your conscience, know that you came out with something valuable. What you came out of there is valuable to you, and it will still take you far. We need to learn to stop thinking about being in this particular space all the time, and always imagine and know that there is one that is coming that will not take away your humanity, your dignity, your self-worth, your self-respect, and your morals from you. It's gonna come, but do it with your head up high. That was what I learned. And I see this in the world we live in today. I'm desperate to do this, desperate to do that. Even when you are not ready, or even when the time for you to make those decisions that can be life-changing happen, and then you're lost because you have the foundation of whom you are and what you have garnered over the years of your existence, you threw it out of the window for a piece of silver. Yes, and that is what is happening here. All those people who were desperate to be validated by a man, not God, man, in the name of P.Diddy, Puff Daddy, Brother Love, whatever he chooses to call himself these days. This is where this desperation has landed you. Because, like it or not, you are guilty by association. You did something. Your hands are not clean. Yeah. Guilty. Yeah. you are. And your name is going to be called. We're going to hear you. Can they find those male prostitutes? Please let us hear from them. They had first-hand experience. Let's hear from those male prostitutes. What do you guys think? Right? Put it in the comment section there. Let's hear from those male prostitutes. So, they have tea, hot one, coffee, and agbo is all mixed together. We need them. Those male prostitutes, they have obonge first-hand gist. Can they find them? Let them come and testify. Well, this tea, it will not finish. The hot will be hot. It will be hot and hot for a long time. Anyway, people. So yeah, this is it. Every one of you who were a party to this will be saying one thing today. If I had known, I wouldn't have, or I shouldn't have. Or I wish I never, or I wish I wasn't, or I should never have been there. Well, the music is playing. Get ready to dance. And on this note, guys, do not fail to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And leave your comments in the comment section. Do not fail to subscribe, and like my video. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.